Hello, people. It's your girl, Judith here. So happy and glad to be able to bring you today a very special kind of program in our MCC series. You know, I love to capture good story. I love to share stories because I believe behind every story, there's something to be learned. There's something we can take away that can make us better, that can make us improve. So in today's MCC series, I invite us to learn and hear and share the journey of Alfreda that I feel honored to have here today. Alfreda is a master coach. Alfreda has a wealth of experience, knowledge, and a lot to give. That's why I feel so happy to be able to have here today to come and share her journey to MCC. Hey, Judith, stop talking and give the floor to Alfreda. Welcome, Alfreda, to our channel and our series on MCC.
Thank you so much, Judith. I just want to reiterate here my gratitude for this opportunity to be able to share this wild ride that I've been on in pursuit of the MCC. And hello to your audience. And I hope that I share something that, you know, people can gain some insight from and help their journey as well.
Thank you for saying yes. You know, this journey to MCC can be vulnerable. It's for a lot of people. It gets to touch who they are. It brings some kind of vulnerability. To some, it actually touched their, I don't want to say ego, but for a lot of people, for myself, it wasn't a very easy journey. So to say yes, to be willing to talk openly about it, for me, I acknowledge your desire to be open, to be real, to be vulnerable, with the hope that it can help those who will watch the video. Hey, how about telling us who is Alfreda, instead of me trying to sort of, yeah, she's like this, she's like that. Let's hear from Alfreda. Who is Alfreda MacRae?
Identity question. I love it. So aside from a coach, I am also a traveler and someone who is deeply curious. So I'm from the United States originally, but I currently reside in Panama City, Panama. I've been here for a year, and travel is one of the things that I love to do. So I see that as a big part of my identity. I'm also a writer and someone that's just deeply curious about people and the world. And I think that helps me a lot in my coaching as well. And what else can I say? I'm honored to, do the work that I do. I've been coaching full-time as an independent contractor for the last 5 years or so. And prior to that, I had a career in management consulting. Prior to that, I worked in project management and IT. So I've had a windy road in terms of career. So I feel like I get this opportunity to evolve or reinvent myself over time. But coaching has been a part of my journey for through most of that, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The curious person in me is like, oh my God, mystery things, traveler, IT management, and coach, and wow, that's a lot. And I just feel like I have a lot of questions to ask. But we'll bring it back to MCC, which is why a lot of people watch this series. A lot of people watching the long form or the shorts are people who are curious. Just as you said, you're also a curious person. People are curious about this MCC thing. How do you go about? Seems like it's complicated. Seems like it gets people. So if we bring it back to MCC, what made you say, wow, with everything that you've already done, to say, okay, I'll go for the MCC?
Yeah. Well, it has been I mean, once you learn about the tiers in credentialing and ICF, it was an aspiration. But honestly, I never thought I would be able to accumulate the amount of hours. I'm like, that's astronomical. Because coaching had always, for a long time, was something that I did kind of off the side of my desk or on the side because I had like a main career. But coaching to me was like a calling, a vocation. It was a way that I felt inclined to kind of show up for people. So I always wanted to set aside the time to learn and to grow the craft. But I never thought that it would be something that I would, have as my primary career. So it was something like as a star in the sky. But a few years ago, I went to the ICF Converge conference, and I saw, I think George Mason University was there, and they had a booth for their masterful coaching program. And I had an opportunity to meet with Ellen Fulton. She was telling me about the program. And she was like, well, you only need 2,500 hours. And I was like, 2,500 hours. For some reason, I had put in my mind that, I needed like 10,000 hours. I just knew it was a big number, right? So I never committed it to memory. It was just like, you got to get this big number of hours. But then she said 2,500 hours. And I was like, actually, I'm pretty close to that now. So this is something that is within reach, is something that's attainable. So as I looked into it a little bit more, I was like, actually, I meet all of these requirements. Like I could do this program. And so it just became much more real. And so the time aligned, and I felt, why not? I knew that like mastery is always something that I said like aspired toward. And I had invested a lot of time and money and trying to grow myself as a coach. And so I just felt like this was just like the natural next step to take.
Wow. You said something about a big number, astronomic. And 10,000, yeah. I'm like, where is the 10,000 coming from? Where did she see that?
Right. How did I get that number?
Wow. So it seems like that conversation at Converge made you move from astronomy to I'm close. I have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I started coaching in 2006, 2007. And as I said, like I had always on the side, coaching people at all ridiculous hours, around the world. And I had accumulated a lot of hours. But I just felt I just didn't make the connection, right? It was like master level coaching was somewhere out far, but having that conversation made it, within reach. So it was just like really, really great timing. Yeah.
Great timing. Wow. We'll come later to talk about, okay, now you're masterful. That thing that seemed out of reach now, so what impact? Besides I heard I want to learn, I like to grow, I like to develop as a coach. Was there another reason, another motivation for you to just go for it?
Well, I know that there are not a lot of master certified coaches in comparison to PCC or ACC level. And even within that, I know that there may not be a lot of coaches with my particular ethnic demographic. So it's important for me to, if I can, have that representation there, because I think that's important. Because once you see someone, it's like, oh, it just is in some other, in a lot of areas. I know that's happened for me. It's like it becomes more real, more attainable. Right? You can point to someone, you can ask them questions. So that was also a big motivation. Just wanting to kind of be that representation.
You represent, yes, please. Yes, please. And I'm glad you bring that up. Well, people are surprised when I tell them I've been in places where trying to partner with some organization, and how did you get yourself here? Because there are not a lot of people that look like you in these places.
Yeah.
I don't know. Life brought me here, and I'm here.
Right. Yeah.
So yes. Let's represent. Hey, let's get down to the core, to the meat of the journey. How was it for you getting that MCC?
Yeah. So you mentioned something earlier, about the ego and the challenge. One thing that I want to offer that I hope will help someone is that I want to normalize self-doubt through the journey. When you're doing something new, there's uncertainty and you're not sure, and you've maybe reached a level, you've reached the ceiling of your competency. And that's okay, because that's a great place for learning to unfold. We can't always know everything all the time. There has to be a point where you become a beginner again. And taking that journey that's what happens when you go on that journey. You have to kind of peel off the identity of being someone who knows all the things to being a learner, being a beginner. I was reading an article in Harvard Business Review recently. They were talking about AI, and it was talking about adapting to change with the mindset of being a strategic amateur. And I love that term.
Yes. That's why I'm smiling. I think I'll tell the editors to put it on the camera. It's kind of powerful, strategic amateur.
Yeah. And with all of that is the ego kind of has to take a little bit of a backseat in that, because your identity, I'm supposed to be this person who is able to, but that trying to reinforce that or hold your way into that is gonna, for me, I would say, limit your ability to be open to learning something new. And so self-doubt is just a part of the process, and it doesn't have to hamper or hinder you. You can just partner with it and recognize that you have the ability to grow through that, right? You will be an amateur, but you will also learn as well.
Thank you for this wonderful offer. It's really something that if you're watching this, it's okay. To feel like you are a learner, you're a starter. It's so beautifully offered, Alfreda. That's why I really want to emphasize it. Well, those who read the article about me, there were many times where I'm like, I'll stop. Maybe I don't have what it takes. Maybe it's not there. Maybe it's not for me. Maybe I should just stay a consultant. Maybe. And you are offering us, it's okay. It's normal to learn. You need to start.
Yeah.
Listen, be led. And just the next step in front of you. Any more such kind of, this is crispy.
Crispy, I love it.
Yeah, crispy material. In that, when there's a chaos down, just listen. What is coming?
Yeah.
What is learning? What is the little next step? Just the little prompts like this that can keep you moving towards that MCC thing. That's what I'm saying. Good stuff. Anything besides listen, learn, and another step? Anything else for you in the journey?
I think a big part of my success in that program in attaining my MCC was having community. So being in a program that had a cohort where I can reach out to other coaches who are going through, a similar process, and we can all commiserate or support each other through everything that comes up through that process. Because it's the internal journey, then you have the technical competencies, and then the administrative process of just, submission and all of that. And so it's helpful to have, not to do that alone, I think. I think that's another big key, is to connect with other people who can support you, encourage you, who you can support also, and encourage through the process.
Excellent. You mentioned a lot of good things. So everything that's happening in you, the coach going for MCC, everything technical, the competencies, the recording, and everything administrative submit. And you also mentioned the great part that community plays in all of this. In these various components, which one would you say was the most important for you?
Yeah, the internal journey, the falling apart, the doubt, like navigating all of the feelings, all of the it's like coming back to the foundation of why do you want to do this? What makes, like, this is a slog. What makes this important enough to go through all of this? And I think that in and of itself was worth all of it, because yes, the letters are great, but it's also about the quality of presence that's being cultivated, who you are as a result of that, and being able to create capacity for yourself, create capacity for the person that's sitting in front of you. And I really do think it's a real privilege, because you're learning how to be with people in such a unique way. Not a lot of people are, know how to create space in this way and to be able to hold space in this way. So I really do think it is unique and a real privilege, and it's worth it, in my opinion. Wow.
Someone watching this is like, oh my God, they've started talking about, MCC is kind of, I don't want to say woohoo, like I'm a PhD person, I like very logical, and you have competencies. I even wonder, like, why would ICF assess the mastery using things that are kind of abstract? And here you are saying that's where the beauty, the gold, and the resides in everything that changes in you. There's some people coming from a very logical world, academic. It's like, just tell me the requirements and I'll go through. Mm-hmm. Coming with that mindset for an MCC, it's kind of tough.
Yeah.
So I loved it when you say you're logical. You don't do feelings. But you went through it and you say it's worth it. What makes the inner thing worth it? Why would a logical person like you say it's worth it?
Yeah. Well, it's the transformation. It's the inner transformation. And I think it's the tension. We can hold multitudes. We can hold that tension. And I think when we sit down with our clients, sometimes we're also inviting them to see that and hold it as well. That being and doing not being so focused on the checklist, the doing it right, being good, but focused on like, what's the quality of what you're bringing in? What's your depth of presence? Those things are also important. And so I feel like this process forces you to hold space for all of these things together.
Excellent. Now, when you talk about it, sounds like it was cool. It was cool or painful, but it was cool and you love it. Looking back at your journey, if there was something is there anything you would do different?
On the road to MCC, I may not have, this is like on the journey to MCC, not the MCC credentialing process, but I was definitely kind of in a rush in a way, like just collecting those hours like Pokemon cards. Like I was trying to catch them all. And I may have, if I could do it over, maybe I would have slowed down a little bit more and just enjoyed the journey a bit longer, and not been in such a rush, or had that, had a change in mindset and perspective about that.
Yeah. Well, someone is watching this, and a question that I've been receiving, whether watching the shows or when I was still doing, the meetings on the Tarot community, is like these things seem complex. It seems we want to get started, but we don't actually know what ICF wants to pass. Well, the requirements are on the website, but we don't know exactly, because the painful points were the recordings and then passing that exam, particularly the recording. Some people just gave up at some point. So if they were here, what would you tell them ICF wants to see to approve your recording? What's the secret there to get that right? Well,
I would say the biggest learning for me, there was lots of learning out of the MCC program that I went in. And I think for me, the learning is partnership. So I feel like what the assessors are looking for are how you partner with your client and allow the session to be client-led, and the way that you are present with your client versus coming in with, here's the 3 things that we're going to do today, and instead of following a structure or a script. It's there, but it's not rigid. It's fluid. So I do want to admit, it's an esoteric kind of quality. But if you really lean in on the question of how is my partnership? How am I partnering with my client right now? I feel like that can maybe help make the process maybe a little easier, or give you something to focus on. That has helped, keep me focused and just help keep me just take the next step that's in front of you.
Listen, be led, and just the next step in front of you. Any more such kind of, this is crispy.
Crispy, I love it.
Yeah, crispy material. In that, when there's a chaos down, just listen. What is happening?
Yeah.
What is learning? What is the little next step? Just the little prompts like this that can keep you moving towards that MCC thing. That's what I'm saying. Oh, good stuff. Anything besides listen, learn, and another step? Anything else for in the journey?
I think a big part of my success in that program in attaining my MCC was having community. So being in a program that had a cohort where I can reach out to other coaches who are going through, a similar process, and we can all commiserate or support each other through everything that comes up through that process. Because it's the internal journey, then you have the technical competencies, and then the administrative process of just, submission and all of that. And so it's helpful to have, not to do that alone, I think. I think that's another big key, is to connect with other people who can support you, encourage you, who you can support also, and encourage through the process.
Excellent. You mentioned a lot of good things. So everything that's happening in you, the coach going for MCC, everything technical, the competencies, the recording, and everything administrative submit. And you also mentioned the great part that community plays in all of this. In these various components, which one would you say was the most important for you?
Yeah, the internal journey, the falling apart, the doubt, navigating all of the feelings, all of the it's like coming back to the foundation of why. Why do you want to do this? What makes, this is a slog. What makes this important enough to go through all of this? And I think that in and of itself was worth all of it, because yes, the letters are great, but it's also about the quality of presence that's being cultivated, who you are as a result of that, and being able to create capacity for yourself, create capacity for the person that's sitting in front of you. And I really do think it's a real privilege, because you're learning how to be with people in such a unique way. Not a lot of people are, know how to create space in this way and to be able to hold space in this way. So I really do think it is unique and a real privilege, and it's worth it, in my opinion. Wow.
Someone watching this is like, oh my God, they've started talking about, MCC is kind of, I don't want to say woohoo, I'm a PhD person, I very logical, and you have competencies. I even wonder, why would ICF assess the mastery using things that are kind of abstract? And here you are saying that's where the beauty, the gold, and the resides in everything that changes in you. But some people coming from a very logical world, academic, it's like, just tell me the requirements and now go through. Mm-hmm. Coming with that
might not necessarily have access to a level 3 program. You can still kind of create that environment. So think about who is in your coach community who could provide some support for you. Reach out to people who, are at that mastery level that you can lean on and lean into. Create your own practice communities so that you can kind of replicate that kind of environment. So even in the absence of going into a level 3 program, you can still create that experience for yourself which I found like those components working together were really helpful and supportive.
Please tell us more about the component. I feel like jumping on my chair saying, oh, guys, do you see how this girl is awesome? Well, it was a great program. You can get there. That's the name. But don't say, oh, I cannot go there because of A, B, C. You can create an environment with those components. I heard connecting around you, coming together, creating a community of practice with people at that level. I heard something about mentor. What else are the key elements to create an environment like that?
I think so what the program gives you is the structure. So create the structure for yourself so you can have that consistency and support. So I think it will be helpful if it's not like, let me fit this in, but actually putting it on your calendar. Like, I forget how many hours like we would spend a day. I think it was weekly. I can't remember at this point, but think about what that might look like for you. So maybe you spend a couple hours a day working on a particular competency, like agreements or presence or whatever that competency might be. Make it a point that it's on your calendar that you're meeting with your accountability partner or someone in your network. Make it a point to make sure that you're observe, if you can, get some recordings of MCC coaching. I know there's a lot on YouTube. I know some other coaches as well. So create the structure for yourself that's going to best serve and support you. And also think about like what you need to create the capacity within yourself to be able to hold that. So what do you need to, if you're saying yes to this, what do you need to say no to? Where do you need to create boundaries for yourself, or who else can you invite to support you that's within your household, your family, your spouse, your friends? So hopefully that's helpful.
This is so brilliant, and I will insist here because whether in Alberta or in other places, Reciprocal Coach, what I'm hearing seems like actually those who succeeded to make it, they were in some sort of community, in some sort of group. Keeps you going, keeps you reflecting, keeps you learning together. And you said a structure. I love it. Structure with components inside. What are we going to work on? The opportunity to learn from those doing, but also to observe what are the elements that demonstrate mastery, the structure, the community, the accountability, and time. So not just say yes, no, but can you really make space on your agenda if you say yes to create that structure, to organize all of that? What impact on your agenda? Thank you, Alfreda. Because I've heard a lot of, it seems hard, we can't find, and you bringing something beautiful here. If you don't have level 3, you can create yours.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's great. Like I had someone in one of the meetings from Europe, they were like, we don't have, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like telling George, have you seen, did you hear what Alfreda said? You can.
You can. You absolutely can. Yeah, so, and then, like I said, just kind of get together with the people in your network and support yourselves through that process.
Excellent. Now you went through that, the learning, the breaking, the amateur, and you went through everything, and you were successful. How did you feel when you received that email or you were told you have it?
It's obvious, maybe not obviously. It's like a sigh of relief that kind of comes over you. I would say it's a proud moment for me. And then it's like, well, then life goes on. right? You still got to like do the laundry and the dishes and like, oh, there's a coaching call, right? So life just continues on. But I think it's important to commemorate it some way. So, take yourself out to dinner or do something nice for yourself to reward yourself for that achievement. But then also recognize, the journey continues. The journey continues, and there's the opportunity to think about then how, what would you like to do? How does this create space in your life to do more? If that's an aspiration, I guess.
Yes, which brings me ready for the next question. A lot of people like, okay, with my MCC, I'll charge more for my coaching with my MCC. Like I'll transform into this very rare species of coaches. Your MCC, then what? What changed for you, Alfreda?
Yeah, I think biggest transformation is just the confidence. Just the confidence, and maybe less striving also, right? So it's like, okay, I have hit the summit. I don't necessarily need to continue to strive for this thing. Not to say that growth ends here, but I can just pause for a moment and enjoy the view. And just having confidence in my ability and what I've learned up to this point. There's still other, other goals that I hope to achieve. So I know that, this is an evolution, but I do want to pause and just be grateful for the journey that I've taken.
Absolutely. Well, what I've heard are questions that were asked even to me. So what's the new page? What's the Judith version 3.0 now that you have MCC? So it's like your coaching practice is like you get to another level with your practice, with your revenue, with your whatever, which was not necessarily my case. There's been some discussions around, okay, because you're MCC now, you really charge. So I wonder, besides, okay, the learning, the growth, any impact on your coaching practice?
Yeah, so this is an important point, I think. Mm-hmm. When I made the point about, life just kind of goes on, it's like not much really changed for me in terms of my coaching business or my coaching practice. And I think part of that is, the person who knows what MCC, or the people who know what MCC really means, are coaches, right? Not necessarily your clients or the public. And so they may not, that value may not translate into concrete dollars. At least that's also my case, not for me. But it helps me to tell the story of the significance of what that means, where that does give you the opportunity to, go out there and ask for more, higher rates or what have you for what you provide. So in that respect, I feel like not much has changed there for me, quite honestly. Which I'm like, well, that's just it is what it is. And it might be helpful to kind of set that expectation, right? Like it might not necessarily, the floodgates of income, they might, be open wide, but it just depends. It just depends. So let's see, am I answering your question? Because
You're answering it.
Okay.
It's a conversation I hope we can have even more, because I was in a meeting and people were like, well, if it doesn't affect the rate you charge, why would you go through all that hassle and other? And my answer is the person you become. I went into this to get a credential, and I love the person I became in the process. To see how you tend to annoy it all, not annoy it all, and it's not even about you. So, and it brings again the conversation. So whenever someone will approach me, I'm walking, I will find a way to have the discussion around your why. Because I like, for those who do coaching and consulting, the consulting can allow you, depending on the clear value where you can show the dollar amount of the strategy or whatever that you give to your client, can allow you to charge more. The MCC thing, in my humble opinion, brings you to a place, as you said, where you can create a space for someone to discover themselves, who they're being, the qualities they are putting, carrying with them. Is this who they are, who they want to be? Like, this ability to be a mirror for someone to see themselves and choose, for me, that's so powerful, because I see when a leader realized for the last 50 years have been showing up like this, it's not really who I am. It doesn't just change the team, their leadership team, or their direct report, or it transforms the whole thing. And out of that, make the MCC journey worth it. It changes nothing on my rates. Yeah.
Well, you said that beautifully, Judith. I mean, I don't know what I could add to that, but 100%. I mean, I feel like you become a more evolved human being as a result of going through this process, or at least there's a possibility to become a more evolved human being. And I don't want to cast judgment if that's not everybody's experience, because there's lots of things that could go left during this process and discourage and dissuade and dishearten. But there is that possibility. There is that choice of taking that step forward, even if it is difficult, because of who you are becoming and who you can be with other people.
This is another rich one. Daring to acknowledge that it can be painful. It can be. And again, for me, that's even part of the process as well.
Yeah.
Because it's painful, you're not getting it, you're not letting the partnership, and you keep failing your recordings. At some point, you may say, "Oh, I'm done with this." But what's that saying about you?
Yeah. And we all, you might have to take a pause and come back to it, and that's okay. Or you take a pause and you figure out, actually, I can be in this space and not have these letters, right? That also could be true. So everybody has to take their own individual journey. Right?
So if someone is watching this and it's been hard for them, it's been painful, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to take a beat and take care of themselves. Do what you need, because it's hard to, as the saying goes, to pour from an empty cup, right? So do what you need to do to rejuvenate yourself, to fill yourself. If we're in a place where, our nervous systems are in disarray and we're fearful and stressed out, it might be hard to do something hopeful and innovative from that space. So give yourself some time to heal and nurture, and then come back if that is your inclination. But I feel like that's first, like taking care of yourself and taking care of your energy. And then maybe come back to it with a fresh perspective and see what opens up from there.
Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. I love it. If your nervous system is out of order, may not be the right place to be your best. So take care of yourself. And after, well, get back to your why. Hey, you're now part of the few coaches that are MCC. What do you want to create in the world? I like to be in the world of creation. That just gives me energy. Oh yes, let's transform, let's make an impact. Now you are MCC and you're part of a few MCC in the world, few with that look like you and I. What do you want to create with that MCC?
Good question. I mean, the thing that kind of comes to me is, compassion, more compassion. I feel like as coaches, and I see myself this way, so it's part of my own identity, is like I have the opportunity to be a compassionate presence in the world. And also through that, make space for other things, creativity, innovation. So that's what I'm hoping to create, is like to foster some community that can do something novel and new maybe we haven't seen before, or do it in a new way. So I am taking courses right now in like AI business applications, and I'm very purposefully putting myself in that space, like getting back to my IT roots in some way.
Yes.
Going home, because I feel it's important to be able to be involved in the conversation in terms of how AI gets developed and deployed, and for what purpose. And so I've been thinking about like how coaching can help facilitate those conversations. And I don't know what's going to evolve from that. But my hope is that it'll be done, thoughtfully, compassionately, inclusively.
Wow. AI, IT, innovation, and then you add the masterful presence of compassion, ethically. Sounds just like good stuff. And I'm like, yeah. Where can we follow up what comes out of that?
Hopefully all good stuff.
And it brings up for me like the essence, which is also something I feel like couple people have been in some conferences, and those who just acquired their MCC, it was, I always wanted to do this. It's like now that they have them in the journey to think about who they are, to learn, to discover how they are being, the quality they are embodying. Something I'm noticing is people want to kind of live true to their purpose. I always I'm pushed toward this, even though, lawyers, business people, but they come back to, I always wanted, it's like the masterful thing gives them the envy to live their purpose fully.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. I feel like that's true for me as well. Like I came here kicking and screaming in some respects, but here I am still.
Wow. Well, it's beautiful to hear what the journey has been and what you're trying to create. Now the curious person in me is like, okay, how can we help you bring that complete presence in whatever AI? Is there something as a community of coaches or this channel, is there something we can do to help you do that in the best way possible?
Thank you so much for extending that invitation. So it's really interesting this is happening in September. So in the month of September, I've been practicing what I'm calling radical generosity. And I've been reaching out to my coach colleagues. I've been reaching out to people that I've worked with in the past to ask them about where they need support, because part of my capstone project is to be able to solve a solution, a challenge utilizing AI in some capacity. So my request would be, if you have a challenge that you feel stuck with, or you need a thought partner, please reach out to me, because I would love to extend myself to you and maybe be a thought partner with you.
I can take you on your word now. I want to be the person who will be viewing the short of the long form. I have a challenge of, say, a personal, a leader, a professional, or as a business or as a coach, what population are you targeting?
That's a great question. I haven't yet filtered it down. So I would say that the work that I do, the work that I've been doing for the past 5 years or so is around assessment and leadership development. So I work with over a dozen tools at this point, but helping leaders to get better insight into what their strengths and opportunities are, using evidence-based practices and using data to help inform their path and development plan moving forward. So that's just kind of like what I've done and what I've been doing. The new piece of it is like the AI solution piece. And I guess this would be more like if you have a challenge in your business, if you're trying to grow, if you're trying to scale, or if you just want to reach out to me about like how do I do this coaching thing? I'm happy to support that as well. So if you're a coach and you want to maybe utilize some assessments in the work that you do, you haven't done that before, then I'm happy to be a partner with you in that. Or if you have some challenges related to your coaching business, or some other venture that you're trying to get off the ground and you need support for, I'm happy to be a resource for that as well.
So how do people contact you? I want to put that on the video.
Yeah.
So don't necessarily pass through me.
Yeah.
I may send people your way, but those who be watching where I'm not, like I'm receiving comments from people in Bengal, in Nepal. I've never been there. Is there something I can put on the video so that they want to take you on your offer and ask for help?
I would say that the best and probably easiest way to reach me is on LinkedIn, because I'm on there almost on a daily basis. So reach out to me on LinkedIn and connect with me, follow me, reach out, and I'd be happy to see what we could do together.
Excellent. So I would have ensure the editing people put your LinkedIn, maybe with your picture, so that they can click, and I'll put it under the description of the video so that they can reach out and connect with you. Oh, Judith found someone with a good story. She doesn't want to end this today. But I need to be respectful to allow you time for the other things, other engagement. So what are the top 3 things you would like to tell someone who is contemplating, not sure, hesitating, exploring, going for their MCC, a coach? What would you tell them? The top 3 things. Let them forget about anything else, but this top 3 is like the best recipe or recommendation you want to let them go with.
Yeah. I'm going to start with a quote by Nelson Mandela, and this was helpful for me in my coaching journey. And the quote says, "Let your choices reflect your hopes and not your fears." Let your choices reflect your hopes and not your fears. So stay hopeful. And then just from a very practical standpoint, take the step that's in front of you. Just take the step that's in front of you, and then focus on the next one and the next one and the next one. I guess the second thing would be to choose. I think you mentioned like, the concept of like choosing who we want to be, but recognize that we're opting into this painful process. Why? Right? So be aware of the choice that you're making and be aware of the why. Who do you want to wish to be through this? What do you wish to cultivate? And to allow that to be maybe the things that ground you when times are difficult. Then they will get difficult. And that's just a part of the process. And maybe lastly, just trust yourself and your abilities and your heart and your wisdom and the process.
Wow, so powerful. Make a choice for hope, not for fear. Just take the next step. Find that training, create that community, or register. Just the next step.
Yeah.
Choose who you want to be and trust you on the process. So powerful. It was an honor having you here.
This was a joy.
Huge. And big thank you for who you are, for accepting to get real and share your journey with us. I don't know why, but I think a lot of people will reach out to hear more because people are looking in an AI age for people. So we will ensure your contacts are there, and it was my very deep pleasure to have you here. Looking forward to some more things we could create together. And when whatever you're creating with AI is ready, if you want to come and talk, the channel is here, as I like to say, our channel to help bring out the best in coaches.
Yeah.
Judith's channel is our place. Thank you very much, Alfreda.
And Judith, thank you so much for all of the work that you do and what you're pouring into our community as well. And I hope that that is poured back into you tenfold so you can continue to do this work. So deep bows to you.
Thank you very much. Hey guys, it was a pleasure. And I'm so looking forward to continue to capture such stories and share so that we are encouraged in our learning, in who we are being, in who we are developing into to make an impact for us, our clients, our community, in our world. It was a pleasure, and I'm so looking forward to the next story. Thanks, Alfreda. All the best.
All the best. Bye-bye.